Art can be traced back to the earliest records of humanity. Other than art, they are also used for other things, and today we will show how art is used in prehistoric era, Egyptian, Greek, and Roman in our mini tour. Prehistoric art consists of two types of art, mural and portable art. Mural art in this era are observed on paintings found in caves. These records show how people used to hunt their beliefs and also figures of animals in that era. On the other hand, portable art includes necklaces, anklets, or bracelets that are made out of shells or bones. They either use it for decoration or rituals before they hunt or to their belief in their own god. Now we're going to the Neolithic era, the era where art increased in size. As people learned to settle down rather than constantly migrating, they were able to create art that is bigger and lasts longer. Sculptures made out of rocks and pottery was used, and the architecture for building their homes are used. Moving on, now we venture to Egypt, which gives us the thought of pyramids, sarcophagus, and an influential civilization. Their art is both an art and record of their life. From their pharaohs up to their entire civilization, we see it in their art. We can also see their belief and how their art is used for rituals, for the offering, or communicating with their god. The materials that they use is mostly minerals and stones since it is the most abundant resource that they have. They use minerals to pigment their art on wood and surfaces while they use stones for their sculptures. They also use metals for their jewelries and sculptures such as gold, silver, and copper, which demonstrates their skills in metalcraft. One of the greatest examples of their culture in giving significance to their pharaohs is the existence of valleys of kings, a collection of tombs located in Nile's West Bank, which is a burial place of many royal individuals, and one of them is King Tutankhamun. When his tomb was discovered in 1922, British archaeologist Howard Carter, the life of Egypt was widened. Different artifacts such as furniture, clothes, weapons, and engravings was recovered and recorded in our history. The style of Egyptian art is very different compared to succeeding eras, but their influence is still known. Egyptian art is static, formal, abstract, and blocky in nature, unlike the Greeks and Romans' delicate and naturalistic art that shows realistic and ideal body of a person. Now, as we head to our next era, classical antiquity is centered in the Mediterranean Sea, comprising the interlocking civilizations of ancient Greece and ancient Rome, also known as the Greco-Roman world. This is the period of cultural history between the 8th century BC and the 6th century AD. Do you ever wonder why Greek and Roman art are similar to each other? We tend to lump up ancient Greece and Rome because the Romans adopted many aspects of Greek culture when they conquered the eras of Europe under Greek control, whether it is architecture, sculpting, culture, or even literature. For example, the Romans adopted the Greek pantheon of gods and goddesses but changed their names. The Greek god of war was Ares, whereas the Roman god of war was Mars. The ancient Romans also copied ancient Greek art. However, the Romans often used marble to copy Greek sculpture that are originally made in bronze. When you imagine ancient Greek or Roman sculpture, you might think of a figure that is nude, athletic, and young, idealized, and with perfect proportions. This is because they had enormous respect for human beings. They called themselves humanists. How does Greek art differ from Roman art? In terms of architecture, the Greeks are the most famous for its stone temples dedicated for Greek gods like Zeus, Poseidon, Athena, and many more. And I think that we can all agree that this is pretty much familiar from the Disney movie Hercules. The erection of monumental structures like the Pantheon, mostly used in Catholic churches, and the Colosseum would have been impossible without Rome's development of the Ark and the Dome. This is considered as Rome's greatest contribution in the field of architectural design. In the field of sculpting and pottery, stone statues broke easily while the metal ones were often melted for reuse in sculpting purposes. Classical Greek pottery was perhaps the most utilitarian of the era's art form. People offered small terracotta figurines as gifts to gods and goddesses. In Roman sculptures, there was a constant expression of seriousness with none of the Greeks' conceptualism or introspection. The mood, pose and facial features of the Roman statue of an emperor, for an instance, was typically solemn and unsmiling to communicate the power and majesty of the Rome. Much of the artwork created by the ancient Egyptians had to do with their religion. They would fill the tombs of the pharaohs with paintings and sculptures. Much of this artwork was there to help the pharaohs in the afterlife. Temples were another popular place for art. They were polytheistic, meaning that they believed many gods, not one supreme god. One of the biggest artworks is also a mystery in the Egyptian pyramids is the construction techniques used to erect them. The incredible feat of the Egyptians is all the more impressive when taking into consideration that over 2 million limestone and granite blocks were used to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. What is it made for? How is it made? Who made it? It brings us in concluding that this artwork from Egyptian period is timeless. Greek temple design started simple and evolved into more complex and embellished structure, but later on architects transformed the symmetrical design and column exterior into a host of governmental, educational, and religious buildings over the centuries to channel a sense of order and stability. We know how we have faces of our presidents on our money nowadays, right? But we are not the ones who came up first with this idea. It was the Roman people. They were the one who first started putting the faces of their leaders on money, and we continued this tradition up until now.